مساء Batra Daf Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph. New Perek. Hamocheret Sifina. Someone sells a boat without saying what he's selling with it. Macharta Torani automatically sells the mast, Vet Hanes the sail, Vet Ha'urin and the anchor, Vet Kol Men Higinot and all the things that drive the boat. We'll explain what that is. Avalo Machar Lo Et Ha'avadim, but he doesn't sell the ship's slaves. Velo Et Hamer Sufin, not the sacks that are used for the holding the storage stuff. Velo Ta'antiki, not even the storage cargo itself. Ubizman. Shaman Lober, mentioned when he's selling it to him, he selling you the boat and everything inside. Everything is sold. Now, how do we know these words? Toren is kare. The word toren is the mast from the we see Next, nes. The word nes is adara the sail. We see elsewhere. Shesh berikma misraim hayam mefrashech liot lecha lach lanes. Origin Tanada Behia, Elo Origin Shela. These are the anchors. וכן הוא אומר, הלהן תסברנה עד אשר יגדלו הלהן תעגנה לבלתי היות לאיש. Manhigim, what are the things that drive the boat we mentioned? Amar biaba elu hamishotin shela. These are referring to the oars that you drive the boat with. וכן אומר, Dashani says, Elonim mibashan asug mishotayich, or another pasuk, bibarema mehacha, biardu ma'onitehem kol tosem mashot. Okay, Ramadan. Merched is going to be selling a boat. Machata Iskila, sorry. Someone sells a boat, automatically sells the plank that you walk on, the gangplank. But the Bora Mine Shivachan, you also sell the water reservoir that's in the boat. Rabbitan Rabbitan says, Machar is going to sell a boat. Machar the beatsit, you sell the beatsit. Sumchus Mer, what claim that is. Sumchus says, Machar is going to selling the boat. Machar Dugit, you're selling the Dugit. What is that? Amarava beatsit Haim the Dugit. Beatsit is the same thing as Dugit. What is that? Rabbitan Tam Bivla'a. Rabbitan said that because he said that he called it that because he's came from Bavel. He would call a butsit, which is, what are these butsit and dugit? Because these dugit and butsit are the same thing. These are like rowboats, the boats that would take you from back and forth from the boat to the dock. Maraba. Here we are. Stories, like I mentioned in the WhatsApp, these are very depth. I would look into them. The stories are a lot of them are messages. A lot of them are not if you're taking literally a lot of details on it. Do research on it. If you want to talk to me about it, talk to me about it. Text me. I'd love to talk to you about each story they have a question on. Here we go. Maraba. One time, those who went down to the sea told me once, that the wave that sinks a boat, it looks like it has white fire on the tip of the wave, which is referring to the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death. I mean, if you hit it with a club, on that bat, it has three things. The pasuk says Hashem will be. The word Ka, Hashem's name, Hashem Tzvaot, Amen, Amen, etc. If you hit it with this bat that has all these pesukim on it, the angel of death can't touch you. Those who go down to the water told me, there are 300 parsaot between each wave. 300, and we mentioned previously the number 300, the number 60 are usually exaggerated numbers. So a big difference in each wave. And the height of each wave is also 300 parsaot, very high. One time we're going on the way, with a wave lifted up so high, we could see where the smallest star in the sky was. And it looked like to me, it looked like it was big enough to plow and plant 40 measures of mustard seed. A lot. If it would have lifted us higher, we'd be burnt by the stars' fire of the heat. And while we were there, we heard one wave call to another wave saying, Hadrati, my friend, yani my other wave, which is probably referring to the angels of each other. If you went so high, it looks like you destroyed the whole world. You didn't leave anything else for us to flood. Maybe I could still come and flood. The wave replied back to him, go see the power of Hashem. If he doesn't give permission, I can't even cross a little piece of sand. Pasuk says, Hashem put the sand as the boundary of the ocean. We cannot pass. So he's saying to him, no, I didn't destroy anything. Hashem doesn't give us permission to pass the sand. And that's why we are stuck by the sand. Sorry, the D has the I wouldn't. I don't usually say demons' names, but over here, for the sake of the Gemara, I'm gonna mention it once. Hormin bar Lili, Hormin, the son of another demon, the mother of demons, is that name? Kiharahita Kufia de Shura de Mehuzai. He was running along the wall of Mehuza. Ferahit Parsha Kirachit Chveta Meted a guy, a soldier on an animal was riding. V'lei Achilin, the demon cannot catch this guy on the horse. Dimna had that one time have Misargin Letarte Kudinayate. There were one time two mules set up for Hormin to use. They came on and they were standing Atre Gishre Durignach, and they were standing. One mule was on each side of the river, the Rognach River. He would jump back and forth from one mule to the net from the other over the river. And he was holding two glasses of wine in his hands. And he was pouring the wine back and forth from one glass to the next. During this trick, not one drop of wine spilled. That day, was a day that was very stormy. I don't think it was an easy day to do it either. It was a very, very chaotic day, and he was still doing it, and it wasn't spilling. The king, which is referring to the king of demons, heard what he was doing about these magic tricks that publicly, and he killed him. Another story. I saw a re'em, right? A re'em mentioned throughout biblical, mystical things, different explanations of what it is. One opinion holds that it's like a type of massive buffalo. Other opinions describe it as a horse with a horn, literally a unicorn. It was a day-old re'em. They have a kehar tabor, the size of a mountain. The har tabor, come on, how tall is this mountain? Arba parse, 4 parasot high. The length of this animal's neck was 3 parasot long. And when it laid his head down, it laid on the parsa and a half, massive. Rama kufta, and when it had to go to the bathroom, it blocked the Jordan River because of how much excrement came out of this massive creature. I saw a certain frog. It was the size of the city of Accra. The Accra, how big was the city? Shitin Bate, 60 houses. A sea monster came and swallowed the frog. A female raven came and swallowed the sea monster. And it flew up and sat on a branch of a tree. Pretty strong tree. Tahazi come and fish. Look how strong this tree is. If I wasn't there, I would have never believed it. Yani, if I didn't see it, I would have never believed it. Comes from right here. Okay, next story. زمنا حتى have a كازينا بسينا when we were going on a boat بحزينا نحو كابرا that we saw a certain fish دي أطفال أخلاتنا بأسا. A small creeping creature went on its nostril وميت and the fish died. بحتوها ما يعرفش the water threw the dead fish into the ocean onto the shore. The حروف من it was so big that 60 cities were destroyed when it landed. 60 cities ate from the 60 other cities were able to eat from it. That's how big it was. And the other 60 cities salted its meat to preserve for later. They filled 300 barrels of oil from one eyeball's secretions. Right, so we keep on seeing 60 and 300. I mentioned before those numbers, and especially in Haggadah, are referring to exaggerations. After 12 months, we returned. They were using the bones of the fish to make huts. They're trying to rebuild that destroyed city. I was never going on the boat. We saw a certain fish. The sand was on its back. And like things were starting to grow in it. That's how long he was staying in the same spot. We thought it was a piece of dry land. We went and started barbecuing on it. When the fire got hot, it rolled over. Uncomfortable. Like you see videos of people studying an alligator. They don't realize it's an alligator. And we fell into the water, not realizing the island we were on was actually a fish. And if the boat wasn't so close, we would have drowned. Another story. We went from traveling on a boat. And the boat traveled between one fin and another fin of the same fish. So the fin in the front, fin in the back, even though usually it only has one. It took us 3 days and 3 nights to pass from one side to the other next. Not only that, Ihu bezkifa, the fish was swimming against the wind. Va'amam beshipua, we were swimming with the wind. And even though he was going against the wind, we were going with the wind, which would make us go faster twice. It still took us 3 days to pass through. Maybe you think that this boat doesn't travel fast. Radini said one time, the amount of time it takes to heat like a bucket of water, parts of the boat can travel 60 parsaot. Yeah, I mean, the boat goes very fast. If you want to shoot an arrow, the boat can travel faster than it. This fish is known as the gildana, which has two fins. Right? So he said, "Oh, the fact that I had two fins, I know what fish it is." Those stories. We're driving the boat. We saw a bird. It was standing. The ankles of the bird were in water, and its head was in the sky. We said, okay, if the water's up to its ankle, maybe it's very shallow. We wanted to go into the water to cool off. Then I think about heaven, a voice from heaven came out and said, Amar he said to us, Lo don't go there. Then I fled because one time a carpenter dropped the axe into the water. It's been 7 years. Below Kam Matiar and never hit the ground yet. Yani, it's very deep. And not only because the water is deep, also because the water is very torrential, stormy, and therefore the axe didn't have a chance to land yet. Maravashi, Hahuziz Sadai. This bird that had its head in the sky, massive bird, is known as the Ziz Sadai. The K'tib Pasuk says Ziz Sadai Madi. Hashem is referring to this bird that's with him because the head's in the sky. We went to go in the desert, we saw certain geese. They had the feathers had fallen out because it was extremely fat. They had oil dripping from the fat of its body. And I asked him. He noticed they were tremendously unnaturally fat, these geese. And he asked them, are you guys, you geese, are supposed to be for my portion olam haba? One goose raised its wing and one goose raised up its leg to show that yes, you're going to be eating it in olam haba. That's how they came. He asked the commander Elazar said to me, the people who sin and cause Mashiach not to come are going to get punished for making these geese suffer, because the only reason why they're not put out of their misery is because we're not zoche to have the Mashiach. So because of our sins, these geese are suffering. Okay. Was traveling desert. I met an Arab guy in the desert. He would take earth from the ground, he would smell it, and he would say, if you want to go to this way, go this way, to this place. You want to go to this place B, you go this way. Just by smelling it. He said, how far away from water? How do the offer pass me some earth? I gave it to him. He said, okay, go 8 parts out that way. Different place they gave him more earth. He said, the Markian Tata you have 3 more parcel that way. One time he swapped the pieces of earth from before, trying to test him. But the guy was legit and he was able to tell the difference. I'll show you the place where the after the 40 years of Bnei Israel in the Midbar that passed away, I'll show you where they died. As the Hasinu, I went and saw their bodies. It looked like as if they were drunk. Their faces were shining. They were preserved. They belong on their backs. One of their knees was raised, right? So the knee was bent. One of the Arab merchants went under this knee. He was on a camel. And his spear was in his hand. He didn't touch the leg of the person. That's how tall the person was. Rabbi Hanan said, I took a corner of tzitzit from this one of their corpses. But we couldn't move. My animal didn't want to travel. The Arab asked me, did you take something from them? How did I give it back? Digmiri, because we know, Pasuk, if someone takes anything from these corpses, you cannot leave. As the Pasuk says, in the Midbar, they won't they have to stay. Everything of it has to stay. So therefore you can't rob them. Why did he want to take a picture of tzitzit? Because he wanted to show Bnei Israel, it's Mahok bin Beshem Ha'Batilel, how it was make tzitzit, famous Mahoket. So he's like, I'll bring a piece from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. Boom, no more Mahoket. But he couldn't leave with it. As the Adra, he gave it back. The Hadam is going to be able to travel. I can't tell them. They said, Kol Abba Hamra, that every Abba is as foolish as donkey. His name is Abba. And anybody who's the grandson of Hana, you, is definitely a fool. Why? Why do you want to take the piece of tzit? They might be a question about if you wanted to know whether or not the tzit was like any of them. But yeah, you couldn't bring it, but what you should have done is you should have counted it. Should have memorized what you saw, and that would have resolved everything. Marley said, the Arab guy again told me, Har Sinai, I'll show you Har Sinai. I went, I saw scorpions surrounding Har Sinai. They were standing up, and when these scorpions stood up, it looked like big white donkeys. I heard a voice go out and say, Oili shinishbati. Hashem is crying out about himself that he swore to make Bnei Israel go to exile. And now that I swore, who can be matir neder? Who can undo my promise, my swear? When he came over Hamim, they told him, you're a fool again. You should have told Hashem, mutarim lachem, mutarim lachem. Like you should have been mefer the neder. You should have undone the neder. That would have undone the whole exile. You could have brought Mashiach. But why didn't you do that? Rabat, no, I didn't know for sure if he was talking about exile. Maybe Hashem was referring to the promise or the swear that he would never do the Mabul again. I didn't want to undo that one because that would have very bad. You don't want to undo the swear that Hashem swore that he's not going to bring Mabul again. But Rabbanan Hashmim said no. If it was referring to the Mabul, oily lama. Why would Hashem say? Why would Hashem say as if he's suffering? Like, oh, I feel bad. Hashem wouldn't feel bad about that. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that he did. Next story. Amar li Rabba said. The Arab told Rabba again. I'll show you where the people from Korach got swallowed up. He saw two cracks in the ground, and smoke was coming out. He took a piece of wool. He put him in water, but he put it on top of the spear to stick it in. He put it inside the cracks. When he took it out, they were burnt, even though they were wet, to show how hot the Gehinam was for the people of Korach. Amarle told me, go bend down to hear what they're saying. And I heard them saying, Moshe and his Torah is true, and we are troublemakers. Amarle, he said, every 30 days, they get shaken up and stirred around Gehinam and brings them over here. Like as if Hashem's mixing a pot of meat. So Bnei Israel, not Bnei Israel, the people of Korach are getting stirred up underground and bring back to the same spot every 30 days. And this is what they're saying. Moshe and his Torah is true, and we are the foolish ones. Amen.